I'm Melvin Beattie, and again we're into Montana's big game hunting season. Each season I have one or two people who want to learn how to tan hides, be it deer, elk, or moose. And over the last 37 years I've developed a trial and error method of being able to tan hides, and I call it the tanning spirit. What we're going to do now is I've got a thing exposed where I can start to peel a hide off. This is where the importance of good skinning comes in. The less you use your knife, the less chance you have of cutting it. I'll pull this down, and as I pull, I can put my knife away. The hide will start to pull. I use my fingers, pull in here, pull it down. I've already cut the tail, and it'll pull off. When it gets tough, if you need to, you can take and put your elbow in. Gives you pressure to pull down. We've got the hide up now, we're ready to start fleshing. I start by putting the neck of the hide down on the board. And where I want to start is right here where this piece of meat is at, and I want to flesh to the end of the neck by setting up a layer of meat here so that I get a good scrape to it. Take it right up here to the neck and off. What you want in this hide now is enough water so when you push it down, the water will come to the top of the hide. Now for the next 2 or 3 days, what you're going to do is you're going to take a stick, you're going to push it down and circulate the hide. Keeping the hair to the top so that it won't dry out when the water goes back down. Now in the next 2 or 3 days you come along and you start to pull. And if you can pull the hair out, what we've done, we've put the neck up here. I've pinched it up here between the little piece sticking out. The neck is down. And what I'm going to do with my blade now is I'm going to take and dehair from about right here to here on the neck. And then we're going to turn it around and have the rest of the hide going this way. And then we'll get with it. See, the epidermis is gone here, here, and there's a little piece of it right there. Now if I had this up in here, I'd have to go scrape that off. So I know that's there now. I can take my knife and peel it off. Now that we've got this dehaired, I'll give it a little shake here, knock some of the hair off of it. Taking this hide back out of the wet bucket there and got a little moisture in it. And what we're going to do is reflesh it. The manner of refleshing is a little different this time. Before we were pushing away from us when we were fleshing. This time we're going to flesh like we do for taking the hair off. Sometimes you'll get quite a little, sometimes you won't. But you need to break this up a little bit. I've turned the hide around so I got the body up here. Like I say, it seems like you may not be able to get some off, but look at the flesh I'm taking here. And again, a caution is that when you're doing this, you make sure that you don't have a wrinkle in here. Up against that, against the board, you'll cut a hole. What I've done here, I've taken and folded the hide in half. Went through my loop here, making a loop. Now I'm folding the ends into itself, so when I ring this up, it won't come apart. Got a short stick here, and I'll start to wind it up. This squeezes the moisture out. This time I'm going to take and work it back over the beamer board. As you can see now, it's all shrunk up. As I start to pull this, it's going to turn white. All stretched out. I'm going to take this hide and tack it out on a piece of plywood to dry. Once this is dried, it'll look like this. And at this point, we're ready to go into step 6, which is braining of the hide. And I prefer to use 1 pound of brains per hide. So what I've done this morning, I thawed out a pound of pork brains. One thing for you hunters, as you've developed this over the years, you'll find out your wife will give you your own blender. See, I've brought this brains to a rolling boil. The reason I do that is for my own protection. If I happen to have a cut or a nick in my hands and I get this raw material of the brains into it, it causes infection. What I'm going to do is unroll this hide a little bit. I'm going to start stuffing it in here. I'm going to take some of the moisture here and come up on the sides with it. Begin to soften it. But one thing I want to show you here when I'm checking to see if this hide is getting penetration, I take and grasp the hide and squeeze bubbles through it. When the bubbles will squeeze through it, I know I'm getting penetration. You seen us wring one out the other day, and what I did, I made sure I had all the ends tucked in so when I start wringing this with a stick, it'll wring out better. And so for the next 2.5, 3 hours, this is what I'm going to be doing. With a constant pulling, see how it stretches, stretches. Once I get it all stretched to one side, then I start pulling it back the other way. This constant stretching until it's dry for the next couple, 2-3 hours is what I'm going to do. What we've got here is a 1/2-inch piece of cable tied to the ceiling and to the floor. And what I'm going to do is pull it around here, which will break up a little bit of a crust that's beginning to form on the flesh side. What I'd done yesterday, I took the hide and I folded it in half and I sewed it. And then I sewed a skirt onto it. And as you can see, I've got it hanging from a tripod and I've pulled it out so I formed a tube. And I've taken these fish hooks that have the barbs removed and you can just barely catch it and hold it open like a tube. If I had enough here, we're going to make one more quick smoke on this. This hide's just about ready to turn. You can see the color coming through here. When this hide was put on, we had the flesh sides to the outside. That way it'll force the smoke through it. As you can see, we've got a real nice color, uniform. Like I say, that's the first time I've had a chance to use that wood. From the looks of it, it's a pretty color. And when it's done, I'll take it off. I'll cut the skirt off, I'll cut the seam out, and there will be a little edge of white where it didn't smoke because of the seam. Take and trim all that off, and when you get up here at the tail, leave a couple little pieces so you can hang this hide up. While you're doing this part, we want to take and roll this hide up to set the smoke and leave it set for 2 or 3 days. Then you're going to have the toughest job you've done yet. And that is to make your first cut.